Hi everyone. Today we're going to be discussing our first of two Kenyan lots that we've secured for the 2021 season. And this one is from the Kaiguri factory in Kenya's Nyeri region. It's called Kaiguri AA. Okay, so this coffee is the product of about 520 individual coffee farmers' work. It's not coming from one large estate, it's smallhold coffee farmers dotted around the area Kaiguri within Nyeri region. There's actually four little locales that deliver to the Kaiguri factory or washing station. It's Gura, Gondo, Gitaka and Kaiguri itself. And each farmer will tend to about 200 to 250 coffee trees, as well as growing maize and potatoes and arrowroot and other crops. And a lot of the coffee is grown under shade trees like gravelea and kangaroo grass, olive trees and meru oak. So Kaiguri factory was first built in 1969 and it was under the control of the Tetu Coffee Growers Association. That's changed hands. In 2004 it became part of the Mutheka Farmers Cooperative Society. And that's a group that actually run 7 washing stations, including Chirongi, Kegwandi, Kihuyo, Mutuaini and some others that I can't remember right now. But all of them are held operating at a really high level, trying to produce really good specialty quality coffee. All in, there's about 4,600 members, of which about 500 are delivering to the Kaiguri factory. Now, since being established in 1969, there are going to be new varieties being delivered to the station. Back then, pretty much everything was SL28 and SL34. SL standing for Scott Laboratories, which are the group that developed these varieties to be high yielding, drought resistant, and producing really, really good quality in the cup. They've been very popular for decades. Since then, in the mid-80s, a new variety called Ruiru 11 was introduced, something that needed to be resistant to leaf rust, resistant to coffee berry disease, which are really big problems for coffee growers. There's been another introduction of a variety called Batian in 2010. So whilst it's predominantly the SL varieties in the Kaiguri in this selection, there are pockets of Ruiru 11 and Batian in there as well. So around November, the farmers will start to harvest their coffee cherries and deliver them to the Kaiguri factory in this instance. The first step is to hand sort through the cherry to refine the grade a little bit. And there are 2 pulping machines at the site. There's a large 3-disc pulper for the main crop and a secondary 2-disc pulper for seconds. The water used is from the local Gura River and it feeds the cherries through the depulping machine to remove the skins. And then the mucilage covered parchment is left in fermentation tanks overnight to break down just via the native microbiome. After it's broken down, it's passed through long grading channels and scrubbed with clean water to get really nice clean parchment coffee, which is then put onto raised beds to dry for about 15 days down to a stable moisture content. And during this time, it can actually be refined a little further by being sorted through by hand. The water used to actually feed the cherries through the depulping machine can be recirculated and used again. But once it's used to wash off all the mucilage and soak the parchment coffee, that's always done with clean water. So anything that's been loaded up with enzymes and particulates and stuff that's harmful if it just goes straight into the river is first treated in 4 large soak pits at the factory. So Kaiguri is one of the factories overseen by the Mutheka Farmers Cooperative Society, which has about 4,600 members in total, about 500 delivering to Kaiguri and the others to the various stations that they own. The motto of the Farmers Cooperative Society is Urumwe Uteri na Utonga, which translates to unity, transparency and wealth, which is a very admirable goal. 3 admirable goals to have as a cooperative society. And this is achieved primarily through paying premium payments to the farmers delivering their cherry to the station for good quality fruit. But they also supplement that with agronomical training, providing ease of access to inputs, as well as hosting seminars and providing materials on sustainable farming. So the starting block here is that there is really, really good soil and an environment for the coffee to grow, really good high quality varieties being grown, and a great managed washing station. After it's been processed and the lots are taken to the dry mill, they'll be broken down into different grades. And this particular one is a AA selection, which means it's the largest screen size. AA, AB, PB, these are the lots you're going to see specialty roasters selling. And it's not necessarily going to correlate that the AA is better than the AB or the AB is better than the PB or anything like that. This lot happens to be our favorite when we first cupped it, so we've bought the AA selection from Kaiguri. So that's the story of how the Kaiguri coffee here has been produced. I'm going to brew a cup and talk through the flavors we get. One thing I find with Kenyan coffees in general is that they're very easy to work with, they're very easy to extract. So I'm actually going to grind a little bit coarser than I would for some of the other coffees in our range. So let's make a cup and see what flavors we're getting in the cup. So when we were selecting our Kenyan coffees for the year, it can be quite fatiguing tasting your way through lots and lots of Kenyan coffees because they're typically very high acidity. So it's kind of hard to distinguish the individual characteristics of each cup. You can be a little blown away by everything being one, fantastic, but also two, very, very bright. And also when they're very fresh, it's a little hard to taste what the coffee flavor will become because they can be a little greenish and a little tight. So we took Kaiguri along with Muchagara because they're very distinct profiles as well. What I liked about the Kaiguri initially was just how slim and elegant and fresh it was. And that's carried through really nicely as the coffee has rested out. Now that we're in August, it's really peaked and it's juicy and slim and just ever so bright. And it reminds me of all the red fruits you can imagine. I've been eating so many berries at the moment. And for me, I get so much raspberry and cranberry in particular, kind of like a red currant, really bracing, bitey acidity to it. Really fresh, very elegant. It reminds me as well of hibiscus tea. If you just have hibiscus tea bags for in the evening or something like that, it's very similar, very citric and very bright and sweet. Yeah, really tart, poised acidity, crisp, citric, but also backed up with a lot of sweetness and ripeness to it. So it's not just sour. I think if you were having milk in your coffee, I wouldn't recommend this one of our range. I would recommend this one to be black. Also makes really nice iced coffee because of just how fruity and delicate it is. Super sugary, very long finish as well. So you get all of the brightness, but you also get a lot of sweetness to carry that. Really nice balance to it too. Great example of Kenyan coffee, and I really hope you enjoy it as well. And that's all from us for today, so take care and we'll see you soon.